All right, 1 month with the Note 20 Ultra, and is it still the premium king? Yes, it is definitely, but you know what? It's got some few Achilles heels when it comes to the overall user experience, and that needs to be shared. Even though, for real, this is probably the nicest and the best Note device, and probably the best and the nicest, most complete premium flagship device I've used. And although I have a massive love for this Note 20 Ultra, in this review, we're gonna see if the Note 20 Ultra really holds up to this Ultra model name and for what it's asking for at this £1,279 for this model that I have right here. Let's go. Hi, Ben from Lover of Tech. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future videos on the channel. Now again, let's start from the outside and work our way in. Firstly, man, this design, my goodness. This is still the best looking phone in terms of design, finish, aesthetics, overall build quality I've personally ever used. That's if you're referring to this Mystic Bronze when it comes to the color, because the supreme level when it comes to the matte finish, satin finish, which I'm gonna keep saying again, so like I pretty much sound like a broken record, that this is the new standard of how a high-end premium phone should feel and should be finished in. So yeah, you can keep the glossy back finishes on all those crazy multicolored finishes and shiny glass finishes, because man, nothing feels and looks as good and as nice no matter what the color is in this finish. So again, I can't speak for the other colors like the black, but this Mystic Bronze is the truth. Like look, fingerprints are handled so well and don't catch onto the back at all, to the point where it invites you and it pretty much wants you to use it without a case because it just feels so good. And although the camera housing is so elegantly designed, and you know, if you look at it, the chamfered rings inside as well as the outer frame, the slimmer frame of this Note 20 Ultra really makes the already big camera housing even bigger, that you definitely need to put a case on it, no doubt. Now look, the overall footprint and the size of the phone, to no surprise, is massive, but honestly, that's what a Note device is and should be for sure. The S Pen on the left side hasn't annoyed me like I was expecting it to, but the volume rocker feels way too high and personally should have been on the left side for sure, but the power button lands so perfectly, so I ain't got no complaints on that side. But the overall boxy design with the slight curves at the back to make it more comfortable to hold, seriously, this phone feels really well put together to the point where I seriously can't praise it enough. Now let's get to the front and center of the display. And yes, I remember in my first impressions I said that this phone is probably the best display experience I've had on a flagship phone so far. And while yes, there are elements of that still hold true, I have to take a decent amount of that statement back after spending a month with it. Here's why. The curved front display is such a signature dish when it comes to the style of a Samsung display that you can't help but feel that for the overall design of the Note 20 Ultra, that it really complements it so well. And I guess if you're gonna curve a display, this is the absolute limit in how far you should push it. So no doubt, Samsung have really mastered the skill of it, but honestly, flat displays are just better and preferred from my side personally, no doubt. Next is the brightness. The brightness is insanely good, and not just because of the max peak brightness of 1500 nits, but just the perceived and sustained continuous brightness in all situations, and a ridiculously low minimum brightness display really makes it, seriously, the display in this element the most usable display ever on any smartphone, on any angle, in any situation. So damn, they really nailed that one and knocked it out of the park. But honestly, at the display size of 6.9 inches, I really wish I was one of those people that couldn't tell the difference between full high definition plus and quad high definition plus, because at this price point, I feel 90 Hertz or definitely 120 Hertz is a must to really have the best display experience. And the only way to enjoy 120 Hertz on this is at full high definition plus, and 120 Hertz on this legit all-screen edge-to-edge display is a dream, and it really makes such a big difference when it comes to the overall OS experience. But I noticed the loss in sharpness at full high definition on the screen size. Maybe it says a lot about me and the things I notice, but man, I notice it even more when I'm watching videos. I watch a lot of videos on this, and it makes sense because this display legit invites you to do that, because it's just such a nice, well-designed and really bright display. Do you know what this meant? This forced me to kick up to quad high definition plus and enjoy the crispness of the display. But then in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not getting any different of an experience when it comes to the display from what I had when I had the Note 8 and the Note 9 with the experience at 60 Hz, bar maybe the overall design of the display. But let's really be honest, without being cynical, right? Apart from the thin top and bottom bezels on those old previous phones, they were pretty much already edge to edge anyway. Honestly, there should definitely be a middle ground option of 90 Hz with quad high definition at the same time when it comes to this phone, at least. Look, I don't know where the limitation is, but for me, it may sound harsh. I really couldn't care less, because at this price point, I should be able to just have both. It just feels like such a short change to have to choose between either or at this price point. Honestly, this made me miss and appreciate having quad high definition plus 90 Hz and all screen and AMOLED bright panel at the same time all those months ago with my OnePlus 7 Pro. So no, I can't wholeheartedly say from my personal experience, hear this carefully, my personal experience, that this is the best display experience on any premium smartphone. Like, it's close. It's so close, and it does it in such a way where it has all the swagger, it has all the spec sheet, and it has all the dressings to really suck you in to make you feel that way, especially from initial impressions. But believe it or not, if you're gonna have a premium display and you're gonna be someone like myself who's pretty much classed themselves as a premium display snob, yeah, I said it, right? At this price point in 2020 and going beyond, if you want to be the best, you kind of have to be the best all the way. Whew. Kind of went in on the display a bit, but I care about the display experience a lot, as you know me. But all right, let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about performance. And honestly, I'm going to try and not get knee deep into this whole Exynos versus Snapdragon debate, because it's been beaten down to the ends for good reason. And also in the UK, we only have access to the Exynos model. So that's what we're going to be working with right now. Honestly, the performance has been beast, and that shouldn't come as a surprise, especially with 12 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM. And with this model, I've got internal storage of 512 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 storage, backed up by the fact that you can actually expand it with an extra 1 terabyte SD card, dual SIM capabilities that's in here with the Exynos 990 model. Especially when you're running this at 120 Hz mode, this phone flies and definitely does not skip a beat at all. It's that simple. That's it. I mean, it may have come across like, hey, okay, I was expecting more, but honestly, when it comes to things like day-to-day usage on the phone, from basic to powerhouse multitasking moves, it handles it, and it's like it can take some for sure. But when we talk about performance, we also have to bring up the overall battery performance in question. And unfortunately, the Note 20 Ultra battery is suspect. That's the best way I can describe it. Now, remember this from my first unboxing and first impressions. This is now my wife's new phone, upgraded from her S20 Plus, which is pretty much the same battery size at 4500 milliamps, 25 watt charging, power share, fast wireless charging, and basically the same specs as well when it comes to the display and the internals. So personally, if anything, with all of that being said, with that in mind and perspective, the battery should be performing near enough the same or even optimized better than before, especially with things like the adaptive variable refresh rate display. But it's sad to say, man, this is the first brand new phone in a long time that my wife basically complained like a decent amount of times that she has to charge it like twice a day. Even myself, look, I'm gonna give you some perspective, right? When I was using it myself, when it came to like around 3 weeks when I was using it before I handed it over to her, before the S20 Plus sold, like the phone is always off the charger like around 7 a.m, no later than 8 a.m. in the morning. And by 3 p.m, maybe pushing it 4 p.m, if I'm lucky, the battery's already gone. Like, I mean, gone in terms of it's knocking out below 10%. I need to put on charge. Look, I can't say for sure why this is, you know, but from when my wife can actually notice this that much, and she's barely using a phone, is that new, and it's no way near the same level of usage in terms of what she was doing with her S20 Plus. Like, this is unfortunate, and this is honestly the biggest Achilles heel to the Note 20 Ultra. Like, don't get me wrong, in some ways is manageable, but not only did the Note 20 Ultra need at least the same 5000 mAh battery as the S20 Ultra, but the optimization just doesn't seem to be on the same level as the Z Fold 2 with the same battery capacity at 4500 milliamps. The Note series overall used to be the king in this area back in the day, and look, I don't know if Snapdragon users are getting legit much better usage or not. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I've got a dud unit, I don't know, who knows. But right here is a shortfall for the Note 20 Ultra, and my love, yes, my love for this phone, it really hurts me to see that in this area, I can't again wholeheartedly say it's an ultra experience. It just isn't. Now, definitely, one area that's an ultra experience is the camera. Like, wow, there are so many shooting options here that it can almost be just a bit overwhelming how many options you have to play with when it comes to the camera for both stills and video. From all the different live focus portrait mode effects, and as crazy and as far ahead of its time as it is, shooting 8K video on your smartphone, and then on top of that, the ability to shoot 4K 60 frames per second on the selfie camera with stabilization. This is something that's crazy to me when I think about it. And if you're looking at it as well, they listened, they refined the zoom capabilities, they scaled it down, took away the space zoom when it came to the branding, and the 5x periscope zoom is really good. It's really working fine. And funny enough, the thing that stood out to me the most was the ultra wide angle lens. Like, honestly, from my personal experience, this is probably the best ultra wide I've seen and used for photos and especially for videos. And yes, that might change easily in no time with so many smartphones that I've yet to use and are yet to come out, but it really impressed me from both the stills and the video side for sure. And yes, okay, I'm gonna spot some things out, although maybe not too much of an issue. The fact that you can't actually shoot 4K 60 frames a second on the ultra wide and the zoom cameras, and you can only do that on the main and the selfie, is so strange. And I don't even know if it's something of an oversight or they forgot to add it or it's some strange limitation somewhere, but when doing the camera test, this is something I noticed for sure. Now also, the color reproduction and the color rendition definitely leans more to the saturated side, no doubt, but I do feel it was done in such a way where it's even pleasing to the eye, even though it's not necessarily trying to be color accurate as such. The next one I think they've improved on is, I don't think the over sharpening is as bad as before. I think it's actually toned down quite a bit, because honestly, that large 108 megapixel sensor, it really generates more than enough detail in there. So I think it's really good Samsung scaled it down and just used the natural detail that you get even when it's pixel binning. And man, the dynamic range personally for me is on point. And one thing I'm also glad to have is that the night mode works on all the sensors, and it really comes in handy for things like the ultra wide, because the standard low light photos when it comes to the ultra wide are complete meh, and it really helps. And even though with that, right, I still do feel the overall night mode experience and the end results that you get still need a bit more work. And also on top of that, the selfie edge detection for live focus can be a bit strange at times. Overall, the camera is ultra, right? And look, when you've got things like pro mode and manual mode for both photos and stills, there is no shortage of anything you can and can't do with this camera. And honestly, check my ultimate camera test with it and you'll see for yourself. Now finally, the last part is the S Pen. And look, say what you want, that is only an S20 Ultra but with an S Pen built in, and honestly I still disagree with that statement till now. Yes, all right, let's look at it this way. It may look that way from a large extent, and it's kind of true in a way, but even if that's the case, it's still to this day a unique standpoint that really no one else has been able to replicate and match to the same level of experience that you get with the Note series. It's just a fact. The faster 9 milliseconds response time really makes a difference, and you feel it even more, especially with the display at 120 Hz. Honestly, high refresh rate. This is why I feel high refresh rate really makes a difference in situations like this to devices like the Note 20 Ultra, and it really polishes and tightens that experience up even more. Look, not to worry, one thing I'm going to certify right here is I didn't go all magically wanding around Harry Potter with the gestures, because in my mind, I just felt like it was a slow experience doing that. And near enough, I'll probably tank it in the gimmick side of things. And it's a shame to say that, because actually the tech is so impressive enough to pull that off, but even me as a power user, I couldn't really get down with that. But you know what? Things like screen off memo, handwriting text to conversion, when it comes to things like remote triggering to take pictures wirelessly, and document signing for signatures, especially on PDFs, like it really, really makes a difference when it comes to the Note 20 Ultra, especially when you need it. Like, yes, you do have to question sometimes how often you're going to be needing that, but you're always reminded why the Note series really sits on its own when you have such a unique experience such as the S Pen when you need to tap into it. Cool. Let me take a step back. I'll come forward. Conclusion. I guess this is a tricky part, right? Because there's something to be said about intangibles and the feeling you get when you're using something that goes beyond logic, specs, outright sense, price, right? And this is one of them. The Note 20 Ultra is one of those phones that fully embodies that feeling. Yes, let me go back to answering my initial question. Is it still the premium king? Damn yes. Like, apart from the new generation of these phones that are bending screens and stuff, and you know, what other hardware are you gonna be getting? Let me know. Like, what other hardware on a phone, hardware and software wise, that will give you all of what the Note 20 Ultra is doing? That's what makes me feel, it makes me feel bad. And even like the fact that I have to be so critical and hard on it, but it has to be done for the same reason of just being fair and straight up, especially for this asking price. Honestly, let's be honest, in this day and age, right? Any phone that is above £1,000, $1,000 and above is pretty much not worth it from a logical point of view. But this Note 20 Ultra is the most worth it phone so far in 2020 in this category of the not so worth it phone to buy if you're planning on making an emotional, non-logical purchase of a premium flagship phone. Even with its shortcomings, trust me, like, you're not gonna like this phone, you're gonna love it. That is it, man. Note 20 Ultra review. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on it, man? Do you have it? Are you planning on getting it still? There's still so much to say about this Note 20 Ultra, man, that, man, it does a lot. So let me know in the comment section below what you think of it. It's me, Ben from Lover of Tech. If you enjoy videos like this, you know exactly what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future videos that is posted on the Lover of Tech channel. I hope you're all doing well during this time. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.